Hi, Julie Jones from SSB Performance, Smarter, Stronger, Better Mindset Training. Here with this week's Mindset Made Simple Tip of the Week, brought to you by Game Day Sportswear. This week we're talking about words. They matter more than we think. I started this week's tip off, if you go to read it, with this quote: "We do not describe the world we see the world we describe." Dr. Andrew Nuremberg, we'll talk about him in a little bit. But I saw this firsthand not long ago. I've mentioned maybe a couple weeks ago that my dad has been struggling. He was in the hospital, in the ICU for quite a while, and it was fascinating to watch this whole process. It was obviously heartbreaking and really stressful and all those different things too, but fascinating as well, because what I saw firsthand was the power of words. We get there, things are not going well. Fortunately, we're in the best heart hospital in the world, so we're in the right spot. But the doctor comes in and says, you need to have a DNR, and you need to understand that things are not good. And I saw my dad just melt. And then over the next 24 hours or so, I saw incredible angst. Should he fight? Should he not fight? He literally was deciding whether or not he should live based on the information he had just received from the doctor. Granted, a couple days before this, he had driven himself to an EKG, so we were not planning on going in the hospital and not coming out. This was, it didn't go the way we wanted it to, right? So things were not good. I don't know how much longer, I don't know, maybe the next day or whatever, in walks a jovial Argentinian doctor who is his cardiologist. And he's amazing. We love him. And he tells my dad, with the same charts, the same situation, the same looking at him, and he did not look good. He couldn't turn himself over in the bed. I mean, it was bad, right? And Dr. Finette says, yeah, this is bad, but it's not necessarily fatal. So now my dad is thinking differently. He hears different words and he starts to think different thoughts, and he starts to decide what he really wants to do. Yes, we have a DNR. Yes, we know we may never walk out of this room. Yes, he knows he may never go home. All these things are going through his head, but now someone used words that had hope in them. And we trust this guy. And I didn't know whether he was being over optimistic because he likes my dad a lot. We've been seeing him for years. And I didn't know if he was just telling us to try to make us feel a little bit better. But whatever it was, it gave my dad a different perspective. The words he used in the same situation were so different than the words we heard maybe 24 hours or so before, that my dad started to think, feel, and act differently. That is the power of words. Fast forward a couple days, and I'm listening to a podcast by Dr. Huberman from the Huberman Lab podcast, and he's talking about dopamine. Well, we know what dopamine is, right? It's the molecule of more. It helps with motivation. It's a reward system. Like, we can't wait to win, so we get this dopamine hit. Different things throughout the day. Caffeine gives us dopamine. Obviously, some drugs that we obviously don't want to get into give us dopamine. Exercise, if you don't do it all that often, increases your dopamine. There are a lot of things that increase our dopamine. But he said it is extremely powerful that we can increase our own. We can literally influence our own brain chemistry by our mindset in our words, right? We can boost our dopamine levels without anything else by what we're saying to ourselves. So when we're doing something hard, if we reframe that experience as effort, that boosts our dopamine significantly enough to allow us to persist. This is fascinating. So here we are doing something really hard, something that sucks. Instead of thinking, oh, this sucks, which lowers everything, all the good stuff going on in your brain, if we change the words we're using and we reframe them as effort, it increases our dopamine, right? That process of making things be effort, this is, we're choosing to do this, and this effort is good for us, changes everything. It's growth producing. We trigger an upward spiral of a dopamine release, which is just unbelievable. And more dopamine equals more sustained energy toward our goals, which is exactly what we're trying to do. So yes, words make a difference. How we frame things in our mind obviously make a difference. Here's the kicker though. When we wait for a win, which is normally what we're doing, we can't wait to do this, or we can't wait to win the recognition, the PR, whatever it is, we're always working from behind. We get the dopamine at the end. Instead, we can get the dopamine in the middle, which helps us pursue that PR or that recognition or that win more efficiently and keeps us on path. So instead of playing from behind, we're using this tool in the midst of the process. It's fascinating. How we think and talk about what we're doing makes a difference. It makes a difference in how we feel, which makes a difference in what we do. And we know that. So we're thinking, feeling, doing, performance, results. We've talked about that sort of sequence a lot. So saying, I'm choosing to grind today because it's who I am, or I enjoy pushing myself because I grow here. This changes the way our brain works. We're not just talking ourselves into something. We're not talking ourselves into something. We're triggering a chemical release that makes us perform better. Fascinating. Fascinating. So many tools that we have that we're leaving on the table to help improve our performance. So in their book, Words Can Change Your Brain, Dr. Andrew Newberg and Mark Robert Wallman explain how positive language, and I would say productive language, I like that word a little bit better because everything's not all roses, but using positive language, productive language, activates the motivational centers of the brain. In fact, the more we use more productive language, the more it changes the structure of our brain. It really changes the parts of our brain, right, that are associated with self-perception and perception of the world. So I use a quote in a lot of my team sessions that say, the more we use positive words, the better we feel, not just about ourselves, but about the people around us. It makes a difference. Repeat negative words, fires up the amygdala, floods our body with stress chemicals, and it backfires on us, right? So we want to be making sure that the words, even the words we're saying and the words in our head, are moving us forward. Repeated positive or productive words, empowering language, they build resistance, optimism, and belief. Yes, our words matter. If we talk about crap, we get crap. We have to talk about what we want. When we choose words that help us associate with purpose and growth, we are chemically changing. We're not just thinking positively, right? We're chemically recharging and motivating ourselves in real time. In real time. Again, not working from behind, working in real time. We've talked before about Dr. Ethan Kross and his book Chatter, a great book if you haven't read it. He talks about inner dialogue and how our inner dialogue makes a difference. That's what the whole book is about. But he talks about talking to yourself in second person. So you, right? You've got this instead of I've got this. You can do this, or you blah, 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 right? Whatever you are doing, instead of saying I, we say you. He says that this makes a difference because it puts space in between our words, like emotional distancing, right? So it helps us separate ourselves from our emotions and our actions. It turns our inner voice into more of a coach. So the words we choose, not only if they're positive, but the words that we choose make a difference in how we feel them. When I say I, sometimes I don't believe me. But if I say you, when I'm running and I'm running up a hill, I'm like, you got this, you got this, you got this. Right? Do I believe it? Well, we've talked before about the more we hear something, the more we have a tendency to believe it. When I say I've got this, I'm not sure if I've got it. It's miserable running up the hill. And then I tell myself what I want. Smaller steps, head up. Smaller steps, head up. Here we go. Right? Here we go. Here you go. Whatever it is, those words make a difference. So when we're feeling overwhelmed or we're feeling stuck, The words we use become really, really, really important. Just like my dad's mindset shifted from this is not good with nothing good after to this is not good, but there's hope. We change. We change. Our brain changes. Everything changes. Our performance changes. The way we frame what's going on around us changes. We see more possibility when we intentionally choose words that move us forward. Words don't just reflect what we're experiencing, they shape our experience. So what's coming out of our mouths and what's going on in our head obviously trigger chemicals, and we need to use those to advantage. So how do we put this into practice? It's just simple, right? Instead of I have to go to practice, I get to go to practice. Instead of I'm exhausted, I gave great effort today. That's why I'm tired, right? And you can say you if you want to put it in there. This is too hard to this is where I get better, right? I'm terrible at this. You're learning something new. Simple shifts, but you've got to catch it and make the shift. You've got to practice it in little situations. When you're just walking around a house and you start saying some stupid thing that doesn't help you in your head. Stop saying stupid stuff out loud. Stop saying stupid stuff in your head. You've got to catch it and put in something that says, hey, you've got this. Or my effort is worth it. And boom, we're going to feel better. We're going to do better. Plain and simple. So speak with purpose. Frame your effort as a choice. Say what helps you. Talk about what you want. Because how we talk about things changes how we feel about things, which changes what we do, which affects our performance. It is our performance. Right? Our performance is a behavior, and that behavior starts with how we think. It changes how we show up. The words we choose matter. So, did my dad decide to fight? He did, thankfully. Is he still in a fight? Yes. And I'm really careful of the words that I'm using when I'm talking to him about what he wants and trying to get him to do the same thing. Because even when he doesn't feel good or he's not sure, when we talk about what we don't want, we're going to feel worse. And we're not going to be able to do what we really want to do, which is be our best, no matter what state we're in. So, choose your words, pay attention to them, talk about what you want. And if I can come in and talk with your group, I would love to do that. JulieJ@ssbperformance.com. Let's set up a time. Let's talk about some of these things and how those people you lead are talking in here, because it makes a difference in what happens here. It's a big deal, and it's pretty cool. Until next week, have a great week.